Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a princess dart hop shoulder. This princess dart, if you watch this video to the end and you follow the method, this princess dart can be used without bra. Yes, without bra. So just stay tuned and watch till the end. The first thing I'm going to be doing is to take the shoulder measurement. I'm going to divide the shoulder measurement by 2, then add half an inch to it. Some people add 1, but half an inch is okay for me. So after taking the shoulder measurement, I'll go to taking the neck wideness, the wideness of the neck. So I'm using the standard measurement of neck, which is 3.5, as the pattern is folded into 2. So once I open the pattern, it should be 7 inches for the wideness of the neck. So this is the wideness of the neck, and this is the total measurement of the shoulder. So I'm going to make my shoulder slant now from this side. So I'm going downward from the edge of the pattern. If you are using your fabric directly, from the edge of the fabric I go downward by 1 inch. So 1 inch is always okay. Some people use half, but after sewing it, you see that the shoulder is not balancing, is not flat on the shoulder. The cloth is not flat on the shoulder. So I use 1 to balance that place. So I'm going to mark slanted. With this, I'm done with the shoulder measurement. So I'll proceed to taking the chest line, the bust point, the nipple point, that is vertical one, then the under bust. So the chest line here is 7 inches. You can always measure that on your customer. And my nipple point here is 11. That is from the shoulder to the nipple point vertically. And the half length here is 15. That is from the shoulder to immediately under the bust vertically. So I'm going to mark a straight line for all this line. I'm going to do that, and from here to this point we have it to be 4. This side also we have it to be 4. So now I'm going to just make a straight line for the chest line, the under bust line, and the nipple point line. So let me just go quickly to label them. I'm going to label this one, which is the chest line, as CL. This one, the bust line, I'm going to do it and label it as BL. And the under bust line, I'm going to label it as UBL. That is under bust line. So after doing this, I'm going to take the armhole depth, which is by dividing the bust by 6, add 1.5 to it. If I divide my bust, the measurement I'm using here, by 6 and add 1.5, I'm going to have the armhole depth to be 7.5. So I mark 7.5. So this is the armhole depth here. So before taking the curve of the armhole, the next thing you have to do is to take the same measurement you use for the shoulder at the armhole depth, just to get a straight line. So I use my shoulder measurement is, I divided by 2, I got 8, and I add half an inch to it, making it 8.5. So I mark 8.5 at the depth of the armhole. Then I'm going to connect a straight line now. So the essence of taking the shoulder measurement here is just for me to get a straight line. Yes. So I'm not going to be marking it this way, rather I'm going to be using my French curve to get the armhole curve. So this is how you get your armhole curve with your French curve. Please, once you get the armhole depth, let the end of the French curve, this point, to be on the line. Then let the edge of this side be on the shoulder. That is the 8.5 you mark here. Let it be on the shoulder. So you have some part of the French curve going inward, going inside this line you mark. But that is how we want it. Once you let the end of the French curve be on the line and this edge also be on the shoulder point, you are fine. You can just mark the armhole. That is how to do your armhole with your French curve. Simple and straightforward. So I now move to getting the princess dart itself. So doing the princess dart, we are going to divide the nipple to nipple measurement by 2, then add half an inch to it. The nipple to nipple measurement I'm using here is 8 inches. So if I should add half an inch to it, it will be 4.5. So I mark 4.5 here. Going to the under bust, I'm going to divide the nipple to nipple by 2 without adding anything to it. So I have 4 inches here and 4.5 here. So you can actually proceed this way if you want your peplum to start immediately under the bust. But if you don't want your peplum to start immediately under the bust, you can extend the half length by whatever measurement you want. So I'm extending mine here by 2 inches. I don't want the peplum to start immediately under the bust, so I'm extending it now. So I'm going to mark all through. Remember, this is the under bust line. We just extend this one because we don't want the under bust to start and the peplum to start immediately under the bust. So we can have this one to be maybe extended under bust line. So whatever we are doing on the under bust, we are going to be doing the same thing here because this is just an extended of this one. So I mark 4 inches here. I'm also going to mark 4 inches on the extended under bust line. So now I can now connect them together. So I'm going to connect them together. I divide the nipple to nipple by 2, add half an inch to it, and on the under bust line I divide the nipple to nipple by 2 without adding anything, and I did the same thing for the extended under bust line. So the next thing is to locate the point which you want the princess dart to be on the armhole. So to do so, you are going to measure the armhole round. So once you measure the armhole round, then you determine where you want it to be. So I want it to be at the middle of the armhole. So I measured the armhole round just now and I got 9 inches. So if I divide 9 inches by 2, I'm going to add 4.5. So I'll mark 4.5. Once I mark 4.5, I've done that. So I'm going to proceed by taking the dart out from the under bust. This is the under bust. So I'm taking out that of 2 inches. I'm taking out that of 2 inches. Remember, I said whatever I do on the under bust line, I'm also going to do the same thing on the extended under bust line. So I'm also marking out that of 2 inches at the under bust line. So I'm going to connect them together. That size varies. It depends on the size of the bust. If the lady is very busty, then you make it 2.5 for the dart. That is to make the cup bigger. And if the bust is small, then we use 1.5 for the dart size. And if the bust is very small, then you reduce it to maybe 1.25 inch. So but for this, I'm using 2 inches here. I'm using 2 inches here. Then after marking 2 inches and connecting them together, I'm going to make the curve with my French curve. Proceed to the bust. From the under bust line, I'm going to mark to the bust point. And this is it. I've gotten half of the princess dart. So the next thing is to connect from this point to this point. And by doing that, I'm going to take out my dart from both sides. Maybe you should use 1 inch dart. So I take out half at this point and half also at this point. So I'm going to connect with my ruler from this point to this point. After doing that, I'm going to use my French curve to connect from this point to this point. And as you can see, we are almost done with the princess dart. This is the center front, the side front, and this is the princess curve itself. So we are almost done with the princess dart. Just few things left. We are going to proceed to taking the neck depth. Depends on how deep you want the neck to be, but in our case, since we want it to be half off shoulder, then the neck shouldn't be that deep. We just want it to be open from the shoulder to the neck. So we are going to be using 5 inches as our neck in deepness, but we want it to be off shoulder. This shoulder slant don't really matter in our off shoulder case, but because I just want you to know how to take the shoulder slant, that was why I go. So I did that. So you just go to the shoulder and go down by 1 inch, 1 inch, and from that shoulder you can connect with your French curve to the neck. So now you have no shoulder. You have no shoulder. This is the entire neck. You are going to cut from this point. This actually depends on the type of neck you want. If you want a V shape of shoulder, and even you want it to have a shape like this, a shape of this kind, you can use your French curve also to create a V shape of shoulder. So after doing that, after getting the off shoulder, this is simply getting the off shoulder. Yes, you have gotten the off shoulder this way. Then we proceed to taking the bust measurement, taking the body measurement. Divide the bust by 4, which is 10 in my case. Then add your sewing allowance and add the dart you took out from this point. So I'm using sewing allowance of 2 inches plus the dart here 1.5, making it 13.5. I mark. So since I use this point to get the measurement, I already know that this point also is 13.5. Going to the under bust is 30 inches. If I should divide 30 inches by 4, I get 7.5. Adding my sewing allowance of 2 inches, making it 9.5. Adding the dart of 2 inches I took out from this point, making it 11.5. So I'm going to mark 11.5 here. Whatever I do on the under bust, I also do the same thing on the extended under bust line. So it's also 11.5 here. I can now connect them together. So we are done with the princess dart. Yes, I'm going to drop like a chart in the comment section to know how the type of measurement and the size of that you should take out for maybe bust of 40 inches. Yes, of course, in this video we use bust measurement of 40 inches, under bust of 30 inches. So that is, your bust of 40 inches should be 2 inches dart. So I'm just going to drop a chart to let you know if you are dealing with bust measurement of 45 inches or 50 inches or even 30. So check the comment and the description box. Then if you have any question, do that in the comment section. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel because that helps me a lot. Thank you so much for watching to the end.